off by acknowledging that I'm presenting to you from the unceded lands of the Turrbal and Yagara people. So, hi everyone, my name is Eddie Hurcombe. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at QUT's Digital Media Research Centre. Today, I'll be presenting research that me and my colleagues, Axel Bruns, Stephen Harrington, and Nadia Jude, have done on how COVID-19 conspiracy theories spread across social and news media. So first, just a bit of background about our case study. As COVID went global early last year, conspiracy theories about the real origins of the pandemic spread online, leading the World Health Organization to declare the spread of such misinformation an infodemic that paralleled the virus itself. But there was one theory that especially gained traction during these early months. And this was the entirely unfounded claim that 5G mobile towers were worsening or even causing the spread of the coronavirus. This conspiracy had quite the journey in the early months of 2020. For example, it gained the attention of celebrities. It was involved in coordinated campaigns by pro-Trump accounts. It provoked government fact checks. And finally, it resulted in real-life protests like this one in Brisbane, and real-life arson attacks on 5G mobile towers in Europe. Which leads us to our research questions. So we were interested in what claims were circulating, and who was circulating these claims. We also wanted to know how news media engaged with the 5G conspiracy. And finally, whether responses from platforms and officials were effective. We approached these research questions in two ways. Firstly, to examine the spread of the conspiracy on social media, we collected post data using COVID and 5G-related keywords from public Facebook pages and groups. We chose a timeframe from early January 2020, just as the global pandemic was starting, to early April 2020, soon after the 5G tower attacks in Europe. We used CrowdTangle to collect this data. For those of you who don't know, unfortunately, CrowdTangle can only collect public data. So a limitation of the studies was that we weren't able to collect data from private groups and personal Facebook accounts. Secondly, we drew on news article data from the global news database Jude, using the same 5G and COVID keywords and the same timeframe. The benefits of Jude is that it not just collects sort of mainstream news article data, but also collects news article data from fringe sources as well. In this presentation, I'll just be giving a brief overview of our research, but on this page, you can see our more detailed published results. So on to our analysis. Here's an overview of our Facebook posts and news article data. Here's an overview of Facebook posts and news article data timelines. As you can see, our data in both samples peak in late March and early April, around the time of the 5G mobile tower attacks. But there are also some differences between Facebook data and news article data. Most notably, as you can see above, the 5G conspiracy has a steady growth on Facebook in the lead up to the arson attacks. To help analyze this timeline, we've divided it into 5 distinct phases. I'll run through these phases now. The first phase covers 1st of January to 15th of March 2020, and it largely consists of pre-existing conspiracist claims about 5G circulating on Facebook. There are actually only a small number of these posts, and these posts also have limited reach, like they're not really going very far, they're not getting much engagement. Still, the first explicit link between COVID-19 and 5G, a false link, by the way, false link, is also made in this period by a French blog on January 20th. And yet media coverage at this time is also practically non-existent. Even fringe outlets and conspiracy sites aren't covering and making this link between COVID-19 and 5G. They're not bothering with it. It's in phase 2 that connections between Wuhan, COVID, and 5G begin to spread. So for those of you who don't know, Wuhan was the location of a significant 5G rollout, which conspiracy theorists really latched onto. Phase 2 covers the period of late January to late February. This spread also has a multilingual character like the previous one. Key actors making links between 5G and COVID-19 include, for example, a French anti-5G blog and a German alternative medicine site. It's interesting because English translations of these conspiracy claims appear later, and they also appear in strange places, such as a K-pop fan forum. And then after this, English language conspiracy sites then pick up and amplify these claims further a bit later in this phase. It's in late February to mid-March, which covers the period of phase 3, that we see a more substantial embellishment of the conspiracy theories. So familiar conspiracist fixations, for example, the billionaire philanthropist George Soros, the UN, the Illuminati, the Antichrist, all the usuals, are now brought into the 5G COVID-19 conspiracy. They are linked to existing theories regarding secret plans for global depopulation, secret plans for global domination, as well as theories regarding alternative medicine. The 5G theory is also used to justify COVID denialism, with people claiming that we only need to worry about 5G, not COVID-19. The multilingual character of these false claims also continues to grow. For example, this popular Facebook post in Romanian that links 5G to COVID-19, then to George Soros, and then to Bill Gates. Media coverage during this phase is largely dominated by fringe outlets based in the US, although there are also a few technology and business news sites attempting to fact-check the false 5G COVID claim. However, it is in phase 4, from mid to late March 2020, that things really start to ramp up. In this phase, we see the 5G COVID claim amplified in the social media posts of celebrities, such as the R&B singer Keri Hilson. Due to the celebrity activity, we also see more media coverage, especially from entertainment and tabloid media, as you can see here. Even more concerning, often these outlets embed screenshots of celebrity posts, allowing these posts to persist even after the posts themselves are deleted by the celebrities or taken down by social media platforms. Also during this period, we see a substantial spread of the conspiracy in Africa and Southeast Asia. But it's in phase 5 that we reached the combustion point. In this phase, the volume and tone of the 5G conspiracy posts reach a fever pitch. We see, for example, apocalyptic posts in Francophone Africa and France, as well as similar apocalyptic content from a Nigerian evangelist, which this post and his content went viral. We then see violent calls to action amplified, such as this English language post, which reminds users that technology can melt and that fire destroys all. Very ominous. We also see more kind of strange misinformation circulating, really weird stuff, such as this post over here, which falsely claims to be from a former Vodafone UK executive who denounces 5G and links 5G to COVID-19. And lastly, we see more celebrities join in. For example, this is UK boxer Amir Khan. But we also see Woody Harrelson making links between 5G and COVID-19 on Instagram, which is great. Celebrity and entertainment outlets continue to amplify these conspiracist celebrities. And for instance, they also do this by embedding Khan's video in their articles, so we can all view it. And finally, in early April, we see 60 attacks against 5G installations and technicians in the UK, the Netherlands, and elsewhere. Media coverage also reached a peak during this phase. Most news articles in this period largely report on the arson attacks, as well as government responses to those attacks. There is also a reduction overall in the direct quoting of conspiracists in news articles. And on this last point, here's our news media reported on the 5G COVID conspiracy throughout our timeline. So as you can see here, in the early phases, that's the bar at the top, fringe outlets supporting conspiracies as is illustrated in the green, and news outlets directly quoting conspiracists as illustrated in light blue tend to dominate the first 3 phases. This changes somewhat in phase 4, where we see a drop in the fringe outlets supporting the 5G conspiracy. But still, in phase 4, there's a lot of quoting going on. And that, I think for us, that's mostly the entertainment and tabloid outlets directly quoting celebrity conspiracists. There's also a significant amount of fact-checking in phase 3, as you can see by the dark blue bar. It's only really in phase 5 that reporting on the conspiracy but not directly quoting conspiracists becomes the norm, as demonstrated by the big orange bar at the bottom of your screen. But maybe this was too late. Oh, thank you. So, conclusions. There are a number of key takeaways from our research. Firstly, we found that the immediate impact of conspiracy sites was limited. Instead, we found that celebrities can be more significant super spreaders of false claims, and that soft news beats, by amplifying celebrity antics and by treating celebrity antics as inherently newsworthy, can act as journalism's weak spot when it comes to misinformation and conspiracy theories. In this regard, while takedowns by platforms can be effective, they can also be undermined when news articles directly quote or screenshot false claims. Still, there remains critical questions about how and when to respond to mis and disinformation. Maybe responsible fact-checking and official responses should have occurred much earlier in our timeline. But maybe there was also a risk of amplifying the claims of fringe accounts and outlets, because as you remember, the fringe accounts and outlets only had very limited reach during the early phases. In addition, when fact checks do occur, they need to reach diverse audiences. They can't just appear in hard news outlets or legacy news outlets. They also need to appear in celebrity, sports, and entertainment and tabloid media. Regardless, in the case of the 5G COVID conspiracy, it was too late. Official responses from the UN, the UK, and Australia only came late in our timeline, just before or after the 5G tower attacks, and well after the 5G conspiracy had already gained traction on social media and in the tabloids. Once again, we have published more detailed findings elsewhere, so please check out these papers if you're interested. And we hope you found our research interesting. Thank you and looking forward to your questions.